Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to AskGolfNut channel and welcome to a discussion we're going to have today talking about this thing, club face and where it points. There's a lot of people which struggle with good face control, and so after 2 online lessons this week already talking about the very same thing, they both had the same problem, and actually they did it 2 different ways. The same fixed both, but they had an open face. So when you looked at their grip, look at their posture, look at their stance, everything was fine. There's nothing that you could look at their grip and go, ooh, that's not great. That might lead an open face. Or you look at their aiming over here, that's why it's going right. No, what it was is the fact that they were getting down to the golf ball okay, their posture, their stance, their grip was fine. If you look at golfer 1, when he started to come away from his takeaway, and I'm not a great fan of looking at takeaways to fix problems and stuff, but he came over and done this straight away. By first parallel, he was like this. So face was open, he was literally wafting the golf club open. So the golf club was coming fractionally inside and also open face. Now, how it should be, I'm not going to say for everybody that you need to do this, but as a general rule, just a general rule, when you stand to the golf ball, by the time you get to first parallel, that face should be looking at a similar angle to your spine. And if you can imagine, if I'm moving up, the face is now straight. If I tilt backwards, the face is bad for your back, but you kind of get the idea. So it should follow your spine angle. It used to be years ago, they used to talk about how the toe goes to the sky and stuff like that. Effectively, that's open. But then years ago, we didn't mind teaching a little bit more of an active face. Nowadays, teaching's changed a little bit to try and quieten the old face down as best we can do, because obviously more motion is a little bit more difficult to control consistently. So he was coming from this position, actually was in here, so he was open, and of course that stayed throughout the whole swing. And he would kind of start off okay, his path was slightly across, but he would end up hitting shots like, and there we go. On the cart path nearly. My path there was 0, his was slightly across, but the main point is that, the face. Now he was averaging around about 4 or so degrees across, and then for his dynamics, a 2-degree open face, say with a 7-iron, would have been a perfect fade towards target. Now, he was finding he could hit good shots. They happened every so often, but the pattern absolutely was weak shots off to the right. And so it's that classic thing, a broken clock is right twice a day. And that's what he was finding his good shots to be. They were there, but they were just infilled by a myriad of just mediocre. And of course, you can see my face is open, so it's only carried 153 yards. It's not the greatest of shots. Now it's missing 32 yards right, 33 yards right. And on a pin, which is right-hand side of the green, that's short-sighted yourself and you're in deep trouble. By far on this green, absolutely, the miss is left. But he was finding that was a common place. And so we decided to look at how we can control the face a little bit better, and we come up with an idea of which he tested. And for the second golfer, it's the same thing. He'd done it in a different way. The second golfer actually at the first parallel was absolutely fine. But what he did, he got to the top of transition. As soon as he got into transition, he had this want to then really extend his wrist into a point of where it gets really cupped, face is massively open. And so he hit, again, shots out to the right. So everything looks fine when it comes to here, but everything happened in transition. And as you can see again, same very similar shot. There's the cart path again. Now delivery on there was a couple of degrees across and 8 degrees open. Strike was within reason, fairly close. But you can see there a carry of 151 and 28 yards to the right. As everything would agree, not the best shot. Now, looking at trying to fix this, what we did is we looked at same problem, 2 different ways of doing it, 1 fix. So, golfer 1 and golfer 2, we got them to feel this. Their stance, their posture, their grip, nothing changed. Everything was exactly the same. I didn't want to change anything. I wanted to change one thing and one thing only. Both golfers, I told them to do this. Just get settled, and on the way back, I want you to stop when the golf club's at P1, position 1, parallel 1, and I want you to have the feeling of that golf club is turned down, looking at the golf ball. Obviously that's a lot, but you kind of get the idea. It's a feeling which I want to get into them, that you can have, as you go back, that feeling of this. As you can see there, that is very, I mean, it should be about there. You can see that's a lot. Now you have to exaggerate. Whenever you're doing a swing change, guys, if you've got a path change, if you've got a face change, if you've got a dynamic lie change, if you've got a strike change, it doesn't matter. You have to feel exaggeration. Why do you have to feel exaggeration? Well, you need to know which muscle to use to get the desired result. And so exaggerating it, you can always dial it back. But first and foremost, you need to find the move, the feeling, the muscle engagement to get the desired result. For the first golfer who had the want to do that, and like even more, we got them to feel that way. So it got to a point actually that they're fairly close because they got this want to flay open this golf club. And so by adding that in there, it actually got them to where they need to be. And then, okay, you can start hitting some shots, especially if you exaggerate that feel. You're hitting more of that kind of shot now. Now that's an exaggerated feel. As you can see, exaggerated feel. But you need that exaggerated feel. When you're in a lesson environment, par for 0, faces 3 closed, there you go. That's now going 178 yards carry rather than 150. Somewhat different, shall we say. Okay, that's over the top, not over the top, as in that's exaggerated too much. But in a lesson environment, that's what you need. You need the exaggeration because there's no point me getting someone to perfect within the lesson. So they have an issue with it, say that it's path, and they've always come over the top, say by 10 degrees. There's no point me whatsoever in getting them 0 by the end of that lesson. If anything, I want them to have the feeling of being 10 from the inside, the ability to be able to get to 10 from the inside. Why? Well, if I get that individual whose baseline is 10 degrees across, no different to a 10-degree open face or anything else like that, I get them to 0, they're really happy. They go away from the lesson absolutely happy that they've managed to cure this. Well done, thanks very much kind of idea. They go home. They have a chat with the wife, play with the kids, go to sleep, wake up next day, go to work. They don't have a chance to practice what we've just talked about in that lesson for maybe 2 or 3 days, if not sometimes longer. And so what's happening with the human brain is the human brain is effectively a sieve, and you can put stuff in it. Unfortunately, just as time's going on, the more time goes by, all of that knowledge of the understanding what the feeling of what muscle to move slowly drains away. It's like the bucket of water when you drop some dye in it, some food coloring. Right at the very start, it's really vibrant. As time goes on, it diffuses into the water to a point of where you can hardly see it. And so if you don't exaggerate, what happens is that golfer comes back to the driving range 3 days after, and they've still got the same problems they had before. It may not be quite as bad, but it's still got the same problems. So what you need to do is exaggerate. And so they can go back down to the driving range even 3 days later, and they can work on these exaggerated feelings. And now it won't be as exaggerated it was initially in the lesson, but it's going to bring them much, much closer to where they need to be. And so effectively they get better like that. Second golfer, same problem, same fix. Now where the first golfer, we got them obviously to feel the fact that they've got their face looking down, twisting that wrist, keeping that wrist twisted down to the ground so that face is looking to the ball, yeah? First golfer who wanted to flail the golf club open, that fixed them to a point of where they're now, within reason, perfect. Even though there's no such thing as perfect, but you kind of get the idea, neutral. The other golfer who done it in transition, yes, I must admit, on the way back, they were looking like this, and it does look a little bit weird. But because they kept that in there, and then they wanted to put their open in transition, they actually started hitting very similar shots, still left. Because you're talking about, it's the same problem at different points. We could have looked at transition changes. So for that second golfer, we could have gone up there, and because he wants to put in this, we could have then got him to feel the opposite wrist angle and stuff like that. Transition is a good time to change things. However, it's a very busy time in the golf swing. That's where everything happens. The transition happens from downswing, from backswing to downswing. Everything is happening at 1 billion miles an hour for your brain to work out. So if you can put something in very, very quickly while the golf club is moving very, very slowly, it's got more of a chance of staying in there through the whole thing. Now, of course, if it didn't work, I would have had to have tackled transition, even if we have thought about trying to sort of do the shots where he goes this way, and if he was to do the same thing, so he was doing this and hitting shots still out there. I didn't even know there's water out there. There is, might be in it. Then yes, we would have had to adjusted transition. So we would have had to have put the feeling of fine here, let's get that wrist going there. That's much harder to do. So, okay, I would always try and do this way first. We can try and get some better shots to start with. Get some straighter shots right towards that pin if we can get it. But let's make sure we get the swing changes in, try and get the exaggerations going. It's important we get the exaggeration feeling in there because again, the brain is a sieve. And so making sure we pop them in there right and quite aggressively will give you the best chance of changing and understanding your face or club face control permanently. So hope you liked the video. If you did, thumbs up. YouTube's like, so do I. Down there is the subscribe button. It's free. It's great for the channel if you could do that. So thank you. And next to that is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. If you click that one, that will notify you next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.